I love first-time home buyers. I know that they can be a little nutty and they don't know what to do, but they're usually pretty compliant. There is nothing like showing somebody that they went from renting to owning their own home.
For me, it's the customers that don't listen. You have those conversations where the house isn't selling, so I'm going to go to somebody else. Then they list with somebody else at the price you told them to go to. That drives me nuts.
I told a lady, she was yelling at me the first conversation we ever had. She yelled at me and I said,
The Den, powered by the Lions Group, a show that explores trending topics in real estate, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. We're a small team of professionals with over $400 million in sales and nearly 2,000 successful transactions. You're listening to time-tested experts and industry leaders. Here's a refreshing look at real estate happenings and more. Welcome to The Den.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this episode of The Den. Today, we're going to talk about what we like and dislike about our jobs, about real estate, about the industry. But before I get into that, let me introduce my friends, my partners, my co-hosts, the fellow members of the Lions Group. To my right, Paul, Hamby the Rockberry, Aspen the Ninja Gruin, and the boss, Shannon Martinez. My name is Ben. I don't know, dislike, if anyone likes me, Lions, but I'm here, so you have to listen to me. So yeah, you have to listen to me. You may not like
that. Was
me.
The worst one.
That was terrible.
they say as they turn off.
Cringe. Click. Yeah, I was struggling on that one. But anyways, so, this industry can really be polarizing. I mean, it really can be. And you can either love or hate it. You can actually feel both at the same time, which is pretty interesting. There are aspects of this job I absolutely love. And at the same time, I'm like, I got to do another market analysis. And I don't know why that's the big kicker for me, but that is one that I don't love at all. But let's not talk about my choices at this point. Aspen, you're going to kick us off today. Let's start with something you love about this industry or this business or real estate in general.
I love that if you want to do something differently, if you have an idea, you can try it. You're your own boss. You can try different ideas that might work. I remember I was working at a dental office and I was like, we should try this. And I was doing reception front desk and they were like, okay, no, thank you. They were not open to the feedback and ideas. So I really like being able to just try anything you want. And I really like working with different clients. I like that it's different every day. There's more I like than dislike about this job, for sure.
So you love the flexibility of being able to so in your business, if you want to pivot and you want to try something new, you're trying it.
Yeah. Let's just try it and see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then that's fine.
Entrepreneur in you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You can express that a lot more than when you're working a 9-to-5 for someone.
Yeah. They just want to do their job and be, consistent. And I'm like, this is a job where you can really try different things and experiment. And I like that.
You can shine if you want to.
Yeah. Or you can take a step back if you want a little bit more of a break.
Yeah. Or you can fail miserably and
that's fine too.
Yeah. You stand up and dust yourself off and go, okay, we're going to try something different, right? I mean, I really see failing as part of the process.
The worst thing you're going to lose is time and money. It's not going to, if you're just trying something with your job, it's not that serious. Yeah. You might just lose a little bit of money and time.
Aren't those the most two valuable things we have is time and money?
You're not going to lose you probably shouldn't lose your house over it. You know what I mean? The time wise, sure, but it's time that you'd be working anyways. I'm not talking about family time, right?
But I know what you mean. You could try new marketing ideas. You could try new ways of dealing with people. You could try some new classes that teach you better skills.
So you lose a few $1,000s. Yeah. That's fine.
And a little bit of time.
But you still learn something.
Yeah. And you probably learned what works and doesn't work and you're going to do it differently next time.
Yeah.
I like that.
I love that too. That's a great point. The versatility, to be able to pivot and go, I'm going to try something totally different, totally unique. Now, what do you hate? Hate's a strong word. What do you hate or strongly dislike? What your preference on that?
I hate relocations.
Yeah.
I do.
Don't we all?
You're doing triple the work for half the money.
Yeah.
And you have to do everything on there. It just takes so much longer.
And they tell you what to do every step of the way. And they tell you what to do.
And you're giving them the same information they're asking for, but they don't want it on your forms. They want you to take it from your form and individually fill it out. And you have to do that every week. And it's just a lot more and I get why it's really appealing for sellers and for buyers to do it. But gosh, on the buy side, I actually don't mind. I don't mind a relocation buyer, but on the sell side, you're just losing so much income, but I can see why it's really appealing for
It's
sellers.
all busy work.
Yeah.
It's like the relocation company's trying to show value to the client, but it's through your work.
Yeah.
Not through.
We're going to make them do a bunch of extra stuff that they don't have to do just to show you that we've earned our money.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing.
Well, and the heartburn I have is like, these are my clients. Like,
Right.
These are my clients I've worked with. I'm doing a relo right now, and I love my clients. They're wonderful. I have no doubt that they chose to do the relo because it's going to benefit them, and I'm excited for them for that.
Yeah, the moving costs, the closing costs, that they'll pay appraisal price. There's a lot of pros to it.
But they've been my clients for 10 years.
I think that's also my press is I've never just gotten a relocation referral. It's always been my clients. They were already my clients. I'd been working with them before.
Yeah.
And then their job offered a relocation.
And relocation gets all the glory, right? I mean, they think, well, this was a great thing. They provided all this stuff for them. No, we did.
Yeah, we
We
paid
did. Like,
for it.
Yeah, they made us pay for that.
I'd rather just pay them a little bit, like do it.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
Like
let me do what I need to do,
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
have to do it on your forms, and I'll pay
Yeah.
a referral fee.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, it's kind of insult to injury when you have to pay them a big chunk, bigger than normal.
Yeah.
And then you have to do it on their forms, and then they're squawking at you all the time that you didn't give them a weekly update on the marketing. You're like, look, I'm going to get this done. Just work with me on it. But yeah, the pain point though is when you have to go put utilities in your name and then ask for. Have you done that yet?
I have not.
Oh, so some of the reloads, you got to go put the utilities in your name if it goes vacant, and then pay the utility bill. So you got to pay the deposit, put the utilities in your name, and then submit a request and say, can you pay me back on this? And you have to keep accounting of all of it.
Yeah, I have not done that.
I found one where they wanted the as-is price, the repaired price, and then they go, okay, we're going to go with the repaired price, so do the repairs, and when it sells, we'll pay you back.
Yeah.
I was like, no,
Yeah.
not doing that.
So
No,
now you're a
thanks.
general contractor.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. So now you're a general contractor. Now you're paying all the extras. So that's a good one. That's a
Yeah.
good one. I hate reloads.
I really do. I'll do them,
Yeah.
but begrudgingly.
Yeah.
No. But I love my clients.
Yeah.
Just don't like the reloads. But it's a tool that they use, and we understand that. Shannon, what do you love about your job, your industry, real estate in general?
Well,
Me.
just coming to work
just
with you every day, then that's gift enough, really.
We're starting with the likes, though.
Hi, I'm Shannon, a partner at the Lions Group. We're dedicated to making your real estate experience the best it can be. If you're looking to buy or sell, go to sjcbroker.com and watch our informational video series. These videos break down the process and shed some light on buying or selling. While you're there, schedule a private consultation with one of our partners. We'd love to sit down, talk strategy, and give you the real advantage in today's market. You deserve the best, so take the steps, and we'll talk to you soon. Now back to the show.
I would say, I mean, I'm with you. I love the freedom. I love the freedom of real estate. But I think more than that, what I really like is I love first-time home buyers. I know that they can be a little nutty and they don't know what to do, but they're usually pretty compliant. They're excited.
They're excited.
Yeah. And there is nothing like showing somebody that they went from, renting to owning their own home. And that is, as corny as it sounds, it's really satisfying.
Yeah.
It's really satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love working with first-time home buyers. It's probably one of my favorite things. They never buy the $600,000 house, and that's okay. They sometimes take a little bit more work and a little more explaining and talking to. That's okay. Yeah. But I think that's the most rewarding thing.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reinvigorates you, doesn't it?
It does.
After-
Gets you excited.
Yeah.
I mean, we all
Yeah.
kind of get numb to it, because we do it so much. It's day to day.
They're just transactions. They're transactions. This is what we're doing. But I don't know.
Yeah, there's not much
something-
exciting about a commercial deal for the most part. No. Very rarely, unless it's like they're opening a new business, but that's normally not.
Yeah.
Right.
And you
Normally not what it
you
is.
get a discount on the ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. Then,
Right.
Then we're all excited.
Really
Yeah.
pumped. Yeah. Well, that's a good one. I like that. So have you had any experiences lately with first-time home buyers that makes you think of that?
Yeah, I'm actually going to, we're closing one. So it was supposed to be today, but it was a mail out. So it'll happen tomorrow. Yeah. Super cute, young family. They've got 2 kids, one on the way. And, they rent and they looked in, maybe about 9 months ago into buying, called me on just a cold call and talked to them a little bit. And they decided, maybe we're not too ready for it. Then found out they have a third baby on the way and said, maybe we need to either re-rent something or buy something. And it's been super smooth. And they just keep saying how like they're so excited to move and they can't believe that they're going to buy a house, And I mean, basically they're going to buy a really nice place for their family for what they would be moving into a larger rental for.
That's what a lot of first-time homebuyers don't understand. It's the same price as a new rental. Yeah. Nowadays, rentals require so much down.
Yeah.
It's about the same price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty crazy.
Yeah. We just closed one too with another young couple. And I mean, we went out there. They could not wait to see the under contract sign on the house. And once they did, the other realtor texted me. So we ran out there and we took pictures in front of it. And, it was a good reminder of how real estate can change your life and how accomplished they felt. Like, they're like, we did this, and they kept thanking me. And I said, no, I helped with a little bit part of the process, but you need to really give yourself some grace and give yourself some credit. You couldn't have done this if you wouldn't have made the decisions, first of all, to act, but second of all, to really get yourself in a position to do it. It was great. I do love that, Shannon. That's awesome.
Well, like I said, so much of this is transactional for us. We're doing a lot of just background stuff all the time. But when you actually get the emotions in there of somebody who's really seeing something life-changing, this is going to be their biggest wealth builder. This is going to be where they're going to spend Christmases, bring their new babies home to, that gives you different feels than a big commission check or, I made top sales or anything like that. That's always the best feeling.
Yeah.
It's just feeling like you changed somebody.
Yeah.
I like that.
Okay, let's go to the dark side.
Oh,
come on.
There's so many things I hate. No, I'm just kidding.
Opposite of me. You're like, actually.
I'm going to look over here at the wall for a little while.
Yeah. Those 11:30 night calls. Do you have a few minutes?
Yeah, you have a few. That's always my line with Shannon. You got a few minutes.
Ben does love to send emails at like midnight, but then I just respond at 5 a.m.
Yeah, that's right.
Right. I don't. I can't. I wish I could be like that. I wish I could just put it off and say, no, not right now.
Yeah.
I don't. I see it and go, I got to do this right now.
Right now. Dang it, Lions.
Do not disturb, Shannon.
Yeah.
You got to use it.
Yeah. So I actually had an interesting question this week. Somebody asked me, how do you deal with conflict? And I said, well, I avoid it if I can. If it's not mine to have, I don't get my nose in it. But if it's not, which is usually a big part of our job, is conflict. And, that I think there's a lot of satisfaction in finding two people that are on opposite sides, finding a path forward, and that feels really good. But a lot of time, I think that's really what I hate about our job is conflict. Either, you have conflict with a realtor on the other side who sees things differently, or you have conflict with your own customer or conflict between your customer and the other party. That never feels good. I don't like that. I don't like when people feel like they're not getting the best and let's face it, that happens a lot in our industry. Yeah. People have to compromise to make these things happen. And I just don't like it. I just don't like it. I wish I didn't have to deal with that aspect of it.
Well, sometimes you just feel like you're fighting on every front. It really, you have to go and you have to set up a proper expectation with your seller. Mm-hmm. And so then there may be a fight there, or not really a fight, but a disagreement on, like, look, you have to be here to be where the market is, and their expectations are very different. So there's that battle there going on.
Yeah.
And then you're out and you're battling the market, and you're trying to market this property, and you're getting the feedback, and then you get a buyer on the line that may be working with another realtor. Maybe that realtor is cantankerous, or those buyers are cantankerous, and you're fighting on that front. And then you happen to get a deal together, and then there's some issue that pops up with the title company, and they can't get a payoff, that then you're fighting on that front. And it just seems, so is that kind of the core of what you're going to do? You feel like you're kind of battling on all levels sometimes?
Sometimes you feel like that. You feel like you're just walking out there, like, like just fighting off so much stuff. And some deals come together pretty easy, and everybody's reasonable, and everybody has a clear head. And then some of them, you just get those deals that just leave a really bad taste in your mouth, and you feel like, gosh, I did everything I could for them. And they might be happy in the end, but I hated the way that felt. Like I hated the way that, that played out, or I wish they didn't have to pay for that they ended up paying for. Or I wish they I don't know. I think I beat myself up a little bit too much sometimes on that stuff because it is just part of the transaction. But
Yeah.
I don't like that aspect of the job. I always want everybody to be happy. And of course, I want everybody to end feeling like we're superheroes and they're happy with everything. And I think for the most part, people do.
Yeah.
But
you're talking about 3% days, Shannon. You're not talking about today.
no, not today. Today I'm a winner.
When it's 3%, everybody's smiling and, interest rates are low and
Right.
You can buy anything you want. Yeah.
I think it's also like for buyers and sellers, it feels personal. And for us, it's for the most part, unless you get that one realtor that's really pushing on the other side, it's not personal. So you can kind of see both sides and having to explain, the seller feels like they already gave a little bit whenever they dropped the price off. Yes, we weren't expecting this repair, but they're willing to do this. And you don't want people to feel like they're getting the short end of the stick, but ultimately it can be win-win.
Yeah.
And mine is like whenever people are like, I feel like we could have sold it for 10,000 more. It's like, it was on the market for 6 months.
Right.
Or not 6 months, but you know what I mean? Like it's been on the market for 60 days. And
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the only thing I really don't like about it is that, you do have so many moving parts and so many components and you can't make, sometimes we do, everything falls into place and we are like rock stars. And then there's those times where, gosh, you're just battling every step of the way. And that's our job. And that's why we do it, and I'm happy to do it. But it's hard.
Yeah.
That's hard.
That could be draining for sure.
Yeah.
Those are two good ones. I like that. Those 2 good ones. Paul, coming to you. You want to start like or dislike? Let's do like. Come on, let's start with the right foot.
Because we have more to say about that.
I think right now I like not real estate. I kind of like, I've been doing a lot of the leadership things and getting involved in kind of developing the systems and the committees at the state level. And I've really enjoyed doing that, trying to find new leaders and bring those people in. I just did the growth and involvement course this last week, and that kind of opened my eyes to other possibilities that you can do in this industry. So I like being on that side of things and not being in charge of anything, but being in the conversation.
You're in charge of a lot of things.
I'm involved in a lot of things. I'm not in charge of much.
So you like more of the camaraderie type of thing.
I like more of building teams and, this is a squeaky one today. And, fostering success for the group.
Yeah.
Trying to help fix what's wrong. And one of the things that we talked about in that class was active listening. And I think anybody that's gone through leadership training knows active listening. But I think the other part is, what do you do after you listen to everybody?
Yeah.
Because a lot of times you can listen to everybody, but have a lot of ideas and then nothing happens. And that's kind of, I like being able to help out in the idea area.
Yeah, and that's a frustrating thing too, is you have all these great ideas floating and going, you have great conversations, and then it goes nowhere, and then it's like, what did we do all of that for? What are we doing then? Yeah, what are we doing here?
Yeah, and I'm trying to make sure that everything I'm involved with doesn't get to that point.
Yeah.
That's a great component. Like in real estate, that's one thing that people don't realize is it's not just about buying and selling houses. It is about building communities, and it's about building our association and making it better. And there are so many places, if you really want to be a leader, there's so many places in real estate where you can do that, whether it's at your local board, whether it's at state level. We're constantly advocating for homeowner rights or for, protections for realtors, for anything. You can get out and you can work in your community. We really are community builders, whether it's, showing up at planning and zoning and letting them know what our perspective is and why this works or doesn't work. There's so many different places where you could lead in your community. So someone like you who loves to be a part of that kind of stuff, this is a great industry because it's not just about sales. It's not just about buying and selling. It's really about being a leader in your community on all different levels.
Yeah.
And that's a good answer. It's a perspective I wasn't thinking of.
Yeah. Well said. Well said. Yep. And for our audience who may or may not know, is we do have the local association, then we have the state level association, then we have the national association, and they're all three in line with each other, but there's all opportunities to serve there. And Paul, very active on the state level. Aspen, obviously president of our local association and done some state level stuff. We've done some stuff over the years on both local and state level and on national. I've been on on a committee or two up on the national level. That's a whole different ballgame. But there are opportunities to serve where you can, where you feel great about it. And Paul, I love the fact that you're actively listening, but then wanting to take action. Right. So I think that, that fulfills, that's one of the big likes for you right now. What's the dislike, or if you want to bring out the H word, you can, but that's
I think for me, it's the customers that don't listen. I think that's got to be
so you strongly
dislike. Strongly dislike. You have those conversations where, the house isn't selling, so I'm going to go to somebody else. And then you have been talking to them about price reductions. Then they list with somebody else at the price you told them to go to. That drives me nuts. Just happened to me last week. But yeah, it's when you are giving them all the information, saying, this is my job, is to get all the data, give you what the market is telling us. And then they just go, nope, I want to price it at $1 million. It's like, well, it's worth 100, so you can do whatever you want.
Sure.
But that's what drives me nuts about this, and I think I'm in a down spot in the industry right now with my production. So I think I dislike more things than not.
See, and that's interesting, because like when you're like, oh, I really know it's going to sell here, but do I compromise my integrity and tell them it's going to, give them a little bit higher number just to get the business? That's what a lot of realtors do. You toe the line though, right? I mean, you tell them exactly.
I'll say it's not going to appraise over this.
Yeah. And that's a hard thing to do, because then you watch your, what should have been a listing that you had go to another realtor because they told them a higher price. And you're like, oh, here we go.
And they'll sell it, but they'll sell it where where you told them it was at.
Yeah. And I never feel guilty about not using me either.
All right. Yeah. And I've long said, like, what is the point of hiring a professional and not listening to him? I have never once gone to my accountant and said, look, I know we got to fill out these forms.
But I was Googling.
That's right. But I've decided we're going to do it this way. I've never gone to my doctor and said, I've got these problems.
But my dad said.
Right. We don't do that. We go to a professional and we trust their opinion. And I always want my customers to have say in what's going on. I want them to help with the process. In cases like that, I will tell them, look, I can only justify this. I think maybe I can find a buyer a little bit higher, but where you're at, I don't even think I can do that. But if this is what you want to try, let's agree that we'll give it a try, and we'll give it a 10-day, 15-day. If we're not seeing the results, then maybe we start moving where I'm at. And people can be a little bit more open to stuff like that, I find. But I'm with you. I hate that. I hate that. Not that I want to be the authority in everything when I'm in a transaction, but what would be the point in hiring me if you know better? If your grandpa bought a place in Oregon 14 years ago and he's the expert, then for sale by owner it and have your grandpa represent you. He's the guy.
Yeah, he's the man. Yeah. No, what's funny is I had that happen a few weeks ago, and I came back in a market analysis. Another realtor months before, like a year ago, I should say, gave him this outlandish number, and I did my market analysis, and I came in at a very specific number, a very specific range, and he blew up at me. Cussing on the phone, yelling, hung up on me. I called him back. We talked for a few minutes, hung up on me again. He called me back the next day and I had to apologize. I've never had a client do that. It's not even a client. It was a customer. And just, he got his wits about him. But anyways, long story short, he wasn't happy with my numbers, went and listed with another realtor, reduced the price. I'm not kidding you, sold $1,000 different than my market analysis.
I had that happen.
Yeah.
It was $1,000 off.
Yeah.
$1,000 less.
Yeah, $1,000 exactly. $1,000 less than
and 6 months later. Yeah.
So, and all the pain in between. So I'm with you, man. That is a hard one. And especially for our audience, we're peeling back some layers here that are like, you don't get to see, a lot of our audience aren't people that sell real estate or in real estate per se in that regard. So we're peeling back the layers here on some things that we deal with.
Well, one of the things too is that we're handcuffed in how we can respond to people.
Yeah.
And we have to be completely professional and, make sure that they're still happy, even if the answer is no. But, that's kind of the hard thing. I was like, you're being so stupid right now.
That's why I think everyone should wait tables in their life. Just because you deal with people that are hard, high pressure situation, you're gritting your teeth and you're like, yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. That's how I was on the phone. It's like, yes, sir. I know I'm an idiot. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I don't know what I'm doing. Yes,
Good,
sir.
good for you, Ben. Not me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I told a lady, she was yelling at me the first conversation we ever had. She yelled at me and I said, okay, we don't need to work together.
Yeah.
And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, no.
That is the beauty about our job too.
No, thank you.
Yeah. Is we can say, you're not my people.
Yeah.
You're just not my.
Go yell at someone else.
Yeah. I'm not going to be your punching bag.
That brings up a good point. How much time do we have?
We have 4 minutes.
All right. Well, I have one last thing. I mean, that brings up a good point, though, is when you start out really good in a transaction and then all of a sudden they flip and then you're just trying to play catch up and you can't come out of there's no way to come out of that relationship in a good way. You know what I mean? It starts out, everything is good. Then all of a sudden we get to objections and they're the most unreasonable people ever. You know, I think that's one of the other ones that I hate.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And for me, the biggest that I have is the ability to work with some incredible people. I mean, my peers are wonderful people. This group, obviously, the first time home buyers, you just really get to meet some really fascinating and incredible people. A lot of the second, third time home buyers, they've got stories, and you really get to know those people and they become like family. Friends that are kind of family. And that's
how you messed up.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things about this job is all the incredible people we get to work with. Right. And there's not enough said about that because we are connecting, we are relationship builders, and we have to do that. Having said that, the strongest dislike that I have is there are some toxic apples in that, in that bag. And sometimes you get people that they bait you and they want you to engage with some toxic behavior. And I've been very acute at not engaging in it over the years. Every once in a while I dip my toe in the water and go, oh, I don't want to, that's not good. Shannon could probably list out some of those. But you can see it coming a mile away. And I strongly dislike that because if you don't play their game, then they just become ugly through the whole process. And that makes it really difficult and puts a bad taste in everyone's mouth. And it doesn't have to be that way. Could be.
I think some people think they're fighting for their clients, but really they're just fighting.
Just fighting to fight.
Right. Yeah. I think the best thing you can do for your clients is be an advocate for them and have people want to work with you.
And cordial and get along.
Yeah. There's a lot to be said for that. I mean, if you're looking across the table and you have multiple offers and you've got one realtor that just fights to fight and another realtor that is, very amiable and you'll work well together.
Clients can see that. It doesn't matter even if we kind of try and
buffer it.
They can still see it.
Yeah.
Clients can see it and they don't want to deal with that either.
I agree. They can. They notice it.
I love it. Well, fantastic discussion. We got to wrap it up. The likes and dislikes, the loves and hates, the yin, the yang, the black, the white. You heard it here at the Den. These are our opinions on some of the things that are absolutely wonderful in this industry and some things that are terrible that we got to deal with. And that's okay. That's with every job. Every profession has those, but now you've got some insight in ours. So thank you for listening to this episode of The Den. If you like our content, please go to our YouTube page and like and subscribe to that. Go to our Facebook, jump into that realm, and you'll see our newsletter, which is fantastic, comes out. We have TikTok, Instagram, all that jazz. And if you really want an advantage in today's market, sign up for a private consultation with any one of the members here at the Lions Group. We'd love to sit down with you and give you an advantage in today's market, whether you're buying or selling, residential or commercial. We'd love to work with you. So thank you for listening to this episode of The Den. Until next time, we'll see you then.
Thank you for listening to this episode of The Den, powered by the Lions Group. Hit the subscribe button to keep informed and check the show notes below for direct links to our buyer and seller video series. The buyer and seller video series can give you an inside track on taking the right steps in real estate. If you'd like to learn more about the Lions Group or to schedule a consultation, go to sjcbroker.com. Complex markets require complex strategies. The Lions Group can give you a true advantage in any market. Whether you're buying or selling, residential or commercial, contact us directly at sjcbroker.com. We're time-tested experts with a client-first approach, and we'll see you next time in The Den.